you must make one real basic decision. If you think that you are fighting, giving your lives, as you saw many of your closest friends give their lives, only for the defense of Israel, for the 3 million Jews are in Israel, I'm telling you, and it may shock you, it's not worthwhile. The 6 million Jews that went to their death chambers during the war were not worse than we are. We're not one iota better than they were. But because I'm convinced that the very existence, the future of the Jewish people depends upon Israel being free and safe or not. That's the decision you young people have to take. And if you take that decision, from that stems everything else. And since I've taken that decision a long, long time ago, I haven't been in any wars. I haven't faced the enemy on the battlefield. But this I know. Therefore, Chaverot and Chaverim and Chaver Bahat, everything else is secondary. Some people, I'm sure peace-loving people, thought, well, this is the decision to be made. Either a world war or throw Czechoslovakia to Hitler. And I happened to be in London when Chamberlain came back from Munich. I'm convinced that Chamberlain wanted peace, and he weighed little Czechoslovakia, sorry for them. There's no reason why they should be sacrificed. But instead of this, the whole world at war. Therefore, out goes Czechoslovakia to Hitler. Israel will refuse with all its strength, and it has more strength than many people believe, not to accept the fate of Czechoslovakia. There's nobody else that in the world that wants peace more than we do. We refuse absolutely to be sacrificed for peace. This time it isn't even peace. It is we're to be sacrificed for oil. We're to be sacrificed for billions and billions of dollars in the hands of a handful of people. We want everybody to be warm in winter. We want everybody to be happy in the world. We want everybody to have a high standard of living. All the good in the world from the depths of our heart to everybody in the world, on condition that we are here. We're also part of the world. This our enemies must know, and this the best of our friends must know. We say this, and I'm not speaking for government. Now I can say I'm speaking for the ordinary man and woman in the street, for every worker in the factory, for every doctor, for every professor. This is the struggle. This is the fight. And everything that makes Israel weaker, we are playing into the hands of the enemy. 85 vote one way. But my friends, the voting, and even Arafat's speech, was not as terrible as the applause, the hysterical applause. After all, the world has lived to see the head of butchers, the head of one who butchers children and women and men innocently standing at the platform of the United Nations. What a celebration. And UNESCO, after all, who are we and who is Arafat? Now, finally, they will be able to get advice how to educate children, how to build schools that terrorists can enter conveniently. Oh, he has a lot to teach the world, and they'll listen. not the whole world, not everybody. And I'm speaking not only against those who voted with Arafat. I'm speaking about our friends. And our friends think that they have done their duty when they abstain. Or when they leave the hall because their conscience doesn't even, they can't bear it themselves abstaining in a question of this kind. And I'm thankful to Arafat. He told the truth at the United Nations. Maybe it was important also that some Israelis listened to that. He told the truth. I have great respect for him. He said bluntly, clearly, without any possibility of mistaking, it's not the Western Bank, it's not the Sinai Desert, it's not the Golan Heights, it's everything. He said, the Jews don't need a state. There is an Arab people that has 20 independent countries with thousands and thousands and thousands of kilometers, square kilometers, and we have about 1% of that entire territory. If Hussein hadn't gone to war in '67, when he shouldn't have, when Eshkol asked him not to go to war, the West Bank would have been in his hands. If Assad hadn't gone to war, the Golan Heights would have been in Syria. If Nasser hadn't gone to war in '67, the Sinai Desert and the Gaza Strip were in his hands. Where were the Palestinians then? And why do people, good people, tell us, if you had only, some Israelis as well, if you had only gone back to the '67 borders after the war, then I always ask a foolish question, but I haven't heard one single wise answer. If the '67 borders are so holy, why was there a war in '67? All these territories were in the hands of Arab countries. We must explain that in 1948, there were two refugee problems, not one. There's a refugee problem of about 450,000, 500,000 Arabs that fled from here and became refugees in other countries. And there were at least 300,000 Jewish refugees in the camps in Europe 3 years after the war, in Cyprus under barbed wire, and hundreds of thousands of Jews in East European countries. The fact is that we have absorbed, since then, over 1 million Jews with the help of ourselves, through the austerity program, with the help of Jews all over the world, with the help of governments that have given us loans and sometimes grants. And you don't see, there are people that should have more than they have. You don't see barefoot children. There is nobody that is hungry in Israel. There are many things they should have in addition to that. But we have absorbed these people. We have solved a Jewish refugee problem. The fact is that for the first time in Jewish history, maybe, since 1948, there are no Jewish refugees in the world.